Good afternoon, Senator Craven, Representative Farnsworth, and members of the Joint Standing Committee on Health and Human Services. I'm representing Shari MacDonald, representing the people of Old Orchard Beach, D's, R's, and I's. And I'm the lead sponsor of 1822, an act to increase the integrity and the temporary assistance for needy families program through the restriction of expenditures. Temporary assistance for needy families is a welfare program that provides cash assistance to low-income families with minor children. The intent of the program is to pay for the daily necessities for a family with kids. It is to ensure that the kids are well taken care of. I know I'm not alone when I say that I do not believe that spending TANF money on alcohol, tobacco, gambling, lottery tickets, or bail should take precedence over paying for the daily necessities of children. These are the examples of a misuse of taxpayer funds that are supposed to help our kids. At this time, it is not illegal to purchase these items, but it should be illegal. The Department of Health and Human Services is already working to make ATMs in adult locations, including casinos, strip clubs, and bars, inaccessible to the EBT cards for the withdrawal of TANF funds. This current bill is a great step in preventing future funds from being used on inappropriate items. Other states also restrict these funds from being spent on similar items, and the department following behind me will tell you more about those states. Some folks may say it is difficult to enforce these laws. I know that the department intends to educate the new applicants and TANF recipients during the annual renewal on where and how their TANF dollars can be used. This would be one more component to that education. Educating the people on how to use their benefits appropriately is a good first step. It will deter people from buying inappropriate items, and I know the state has a welfare fraud tip line as well, and the department has enforcement mechanisms against recipients who do not follow the rules. If we all work together, we can help lower TANF abuse in Maine. I am very pleased to sponsor this bill, and if you have any questions, I or people behind me will answer them for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative MacDonald. Senator MacDonald.
Thank you, Representative MacDonald. My question is about current restrictions and about when they went into effect and when people were notified about them. Do you know anything about current restrictions for EBTs where you can use that card?
I do not know anything about the current restrictions, but I do know as a small business, I work at a small business. My parents own a small business, a convenience store in Old Orchard Beach. We've owned it since 1976. People come in every day to use these cards. We don't accept EBT cards in our store, but people come in every day to use these cards at my convenience store where milk is $5 a gallon instead of $3.50 a gallon at Hannaford. So they're coming in my store looking to buy stuff for their children or cigarettes, and I say I can't do it. So I think that we need to look the whole thing up, across the scope of EBTs in the state of Maine, and I think this bill in particular is a really great step. I don't know how anybody can really say no or oppose something to look at this measure and to really work the bill to figure out how to fix it in Maine.
No, the reason that I bring it up is there are current restrictions that went into effect, and I don't know that people have been notified properly of them.
Well, maybe just educating the people this way will allow that to happen.
Representative Shari.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative, why bail?
For me, I think bail, if you've done something wrong in the state of Maine, I don't think you should be using taxpayer dollars to get bailed out of jail. Why is it my responsibility or my constituents' responsibility if you rob a bank or break into my house and you go to jail? Why should you be able to use taxpayer dollars to get bailed out?
If you get proven guilty, then you can't get bailed out. I mean, doesn't bail work before you've been adjudicated?
Well, I guess I take it from a different stance. I think if I had done something wrong in the state of Maine and I was taken to jail, I would expect my family, my friends. That's part of the moral responsibility of family, and we can't take, in my opinion, we can't take the people's money, your money. You might not like me. Why should your money be used to bail me out?
If you haven't been proven guilty, then and you're part of a family, it would seem if we were trying to support families, we would be. I mean, it seems like a very logical thing to be able to use it for. It's not. I mean, there are people who get put in jail, who get bailed out, who, as it turns out, they weren't guilty.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Representative Sanders?
Are we debating, or are we in public hearing where we ask questions?
I thought we could ask a question. I just was curious why it was included in the bill, Representative. So, seems like a legitimate question.
Well, I have a question too. That is an odd thing, I suppose. I would not agree that people who, personally, for people who might be participating in unsavory behavior, that they would be using public dollars to be bailed out. But did we ever hear of anybody using their money to use for bail?
What I like to do when I present bills or support bills is look at all the avenues, because I know from my first year in committee, things change terribly. Sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad, when they come to committee. So to put everything on the table, to let this great committee decide what they're going to put in and what they're going to allow, is something that I think we should do.
Representative Jordan.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I supported this bill as well, so I appreciate your coming in. My concern is how we can enforce it, because this is a cash benefit. So the problem is, if you take out money at an ATM and it's not in the prohibited areas, I'm not sure how you'd be able to follow that money. So do you know if there's any other states who've done this, who were able to have a procedure to follow the money? And has the state of Maine actually done any research to see if there's been any abuse?
Well, I'm sure the people behind me will be able to answer that question with statistics. They're the guys that are working this issue, 100%. I can say, as someone who doesn't sell to minors alcohol in my store and doesn't sell cigarettes to minors, it's pretty easy for store owners to say, you know what, if you have an EBT card or a Maine EBT card, you can't buy these kind of items at my store. It's very simple and it's easy to enforce, and the store owners that aren't enforcing it now, that sell to minors, there's just simple questions that you ask. I mean, my $8 an hour job working for my parents' business, I can do it, and I'm able-bodied.
Other questions for Representative MacDonald? Senator LePage.
Actually, two questions. One, kind of Representative Dornan anticipated my question about how do you track a cash benefit? Because I'm thinking as like a program manager type person, how do you track that? How do you do that? And I wanted to know if you had any ideas on that, like not whether other states do, but what you thought, like any ideas other than like not having people sell stuff like at the store.
I'm not sure how to stop it out of an ATM machine personally.
Right.
I don't think people
then
should.
the cash is in your hand. You can go do whatever you want.
Exactly, and that's the problem. And 28 years ago, when we first started our business, we had food stamps that were paper.
Right.
So people would come in and they buy something for 5 cents and get 95 cents worth of change. The ATM fee portion, where you can go and get $20 out of the ATM machine to get cash, it's the exact same. That's where the misuse is coming from, and the state really needs to figure out a way to step up to the plate and not allow that to happen.
Are you suggesting that maybe we shouldn't use, debit cards at all?
I'm not going to say that. I'm not sure if that's where the bill is going to go. Personally, I don't think people should be able to get cash with taxpayer dollars. You go to a store, and you go and you buy your items at the store to feed your family. That's what these benefits are for the children and the family, not for me to go and buy whatever I want to buy just for me.
Okay, my second part of my question is you talked about your family store, and you talked about how you're not allowed to sell alcohol or cigarettes to minors, kind of thing. So I guess I'm wondering, are you suggesting, or what would you think about a suggestion that if a store owner takes an EBT card or fund transfer or whatever that's deemed illegal, would you be willing to consider, does that person get fined like they do now if they sell cigarettes or alcohol?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's just because it's going to take all of us. It's going to take right now. The
Because
state,
that's an interesting kind of thing.
The state right now relies on the store owners to enforce the laws of the not selling to minors, right?
Right.
Because we don't have enough state people to go around and man every store. Well, it's the exact same idea. The exact same idea could happen, and obviously things are going to fall through the cracks. But this particular bill is probably the easiest of all the ones you'll probably hear today to think about, because enforcement should be easy, because us store owners do it every day.
Because you have to do it with cigarettes and
That's
alcohol.
right.
Thank you.
Other questions for Representative MacDonald? Representative Cassidy, Representative Melody, and Representative Francis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just heard that word again. How do you define able-bodied?
And so that's kind of why I said it. My best friend, Laura Bolda, owns Best Employment Services in Portland. And her able-bodied people, what that company does is she job coaches people with disabilities to get them employment. I consider those people able-bodied. Right now, she works through the state of Maine, through the Department of Labor, and she gets those able-bodied people jobs. And she job coaches them every day. It's a fantastic program that the state of Maine offers for people with severe disabilities and any disability. So in Portland now, right now, you can call her Best Services, Inc. You ask her what they do, and she just got an exceptional rating from the state of Maine for the services she provides. Those are able-bodied people. If they can do it, I can do it, and everybody can do it. It's a great program. Those are able-bodied to me.
Representative Melody.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you, Representative MacDonald, for bringing this bill forward. Understanding that in where you work, you do not violate the law, do you think, or could you suppose, that there may be some rampant violation of this law among convenience store owners and others?
Yes.
And do you think that's somewhat exacerbated, or is it circumvented by the presence of ATM machines within those stores?
I believe, we don't even have an ATM in our store, just so everybody knows. We lose that money too. But I believe what people do is they go to the ATM stores, they pay the $3 ATM fee at those little kiosks with their EBT card. That's $3. It's almost a half a gallon of milk at our store. And they withdraw the money. And I believe there are stores, and I know stores in my district that do.
Representative Francis and then Representative
He took my next question. So I'm sorry, I got very confused by that last one. What law are you referring to that people are, you asked if there are people violating the law, what law are you referring to? The proposed law that's in front of us, or which isn't a law yet?
No, but it's a policy. Thank you. It's a policy that she personally has.
So the policy.
Sell to people under 18 tobacco.
Well, so now I'm really confused. There's a law that says you can't sell tobacco to people under 18. That's a law. And there's penalties to you as a store owner if that law is violated. They can't sell alcohol to anybody under 21, and there are penalties to the store owner if that's violated. And there's a very strong incentive because of those penalties to make sure. Nothing in this law that has any penalties for people, stores, or other vendors to...
Right, and that's not a question, but...
it's a question.
Okay.
Sorry.
It is a statement, but I think what this law does, it gives us a baseline drawing board. If we want to put in some sort of law or some sort of penalty, to me that would be fine, because I want my store penalized. If I'm not doing the right thing with the taxpayers' money, I want my store penalized. We've never been penalized for alcohol. We've never been penalized for cigarette use. But you know what? There should be. And the people that are doing it, it's wrong too. We've got to figure out a way to fix it. We have to fix it.
Thank you.
Seeing no more questions, thank you very much.
Thank you, committee.